Imagine a ruler whose words shaped the lives of millions, across lands stretching from the deserts of North Africa to the mountains of Eastern Europe. A ruler whose authority was not only political but spiritual. A caliph, the guardian of Islam's holiest cities, Mecca and Medina. For over 600 years, this caliphate commanded armies, collected taxes, and influenced the hearts and minds of the faithful. But on one fateful day, March 3, 1924, it all came to an end. This is the story of the Ottoman Empire, the Caliphate, and the visionary leader who dared to rewrite history, Mustafa Kemal Atatürk. Scene: rolling hills of Anatolia, 1299. Our story begins with a small Turkish principality in the heart of Anatolia, led by Osman I. From humble beginnings, Osman and his descendants expanded their territory, conquering neighboring lands and building a dynasty that would last 6 centuries. By the early 1400s, the Ottomans were a rising power in the eastern Mediterranean. The decisive moment came in 1453, when Sultan Mehmed II captured Constantinople, ending the Byzantine Empire and claiming it as the new Ottoman capital, Istanbul. This conquest shocked the world. Europe and the Middle East would never be the same. Visual cinematic cues, maps showing Ottoman expansion, dramatic reenactments of the siege of Constantinople, archival illustrations of medieval Istanbul. With Constantinople as the new heart of the empire, the Ottomans became a bridge between East and West, controlling trade, culture, and religion for centuries to come. The next key chapter begins in 1517, when Sultan Selim I defeated the Mamluks of Egypt. With this victory, the Ottoman Sultan was recognized as the Caliph, the leader of Sunni Islam. The Caliph was more than a ruler, he was a spiritual guide. For Muslims across North Africa, the Middle East, and parts of Europe, the Caliph embodied the unity of the Islamic world. Pilgrimages to Mecca were under his protection, and his word carried religious authority as well as political power. Daily life in the Ottoman Empire, the role of the Janissaries and the imperial court, the administration of religious law alongside civil law. For centuries, the Caliphate seemed unshakable. The Ottomans were respected, feared, and admired. They ruled a vast empire that spanned continents, an empire that was simultaneously military powerhouse, cultural beacon, and religious authority. But empires are fragile. By the 18th century, cracks began to appear. Military defeats, corruption in the administration, and economic stagnation weakened the empire. The rise of nationalism in the Balkans and the growing influence of European powers created internal and external pressures. The empire, once mighty, was nicknamed the sick man of Europe. Maps of Ottoman territorial losses, portraits of sultans and reformers, dramatic illustrations of battles lost. Despite attempts at reform, modernization of the army, introduction of new schools, even attempts at constitutional government, the empire struggled to maintain its identity and influence. The final blow came during World War I. The Ottomans allied with Germany and Austria-Hungary, hoping to regain lost glory. But the war was devastating. Cities were destroyed, economies collapsed, and millions of lives were lost. After the armistice in 1918, the empire was carved up by the victorious Allies. They occupied Istanbul and other key territories, leaving the Ottoman state fractured and humiliated. Life during wartime Istanbul, stories of soldiers and civilians caught in the chaos, how the European powers divided former Ottoman lands. In this climate of defeat, despair, and uncertainty, a new leader emerged, Mustafa Kemal, later known as Atatürk. Mustafa Kemal was a military genius and visionary reformer. He led the Turkish War of Independence, defeating occupying forces and rallying a divided nation. Atatürk believed that for Turkey to survive, it needed to modernize and embrace secular governance. Religion, he argued, should inspire the people but not dictate the state. By 1923, the Republic of Turkey was born, but one institution remained, the Caliphate, a symbol of the old empire that stood in contrast to Atatürk's vision of modernity. Atatürk's bold move symbolized Turkey's new identity, secular, modern, and independent. It was the end of one era and the beginning of another. Exile of Abdülmecid II, transformation of Istanbul and Turkey under Atatürk, archival photos, maps, and cultural imagery. The abolition of the Caliphate left a legacy that still resonates today. Turkey became a beacon of secularism. The Islamic world lost a unifying authority, and the world witnessed one of the boldest political transformations in modern history. The story of March 3, 1924, is a story of power, vision, and change. A world shaped by centuries of tradition was suddenly redefined in a single act. If this journey through history fascinated you, make sure to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss another deep dive into the events that shaped our world. Remember, history isn't just in books, it's in the choices people make, the moments they seize, and the legacies they leave behind.